This is the third tutorial of shell programming, and today we will be covering loops and arrays. So let's begin with loops. There are three types of loops which we will be covering in today's video, and they are while loop, until loop, and for loop. Let's begin with while loop. So the syntax for while loop is you write the keyword while, and in the square brackets you write your expression. And instead of using brackets, we use do as the starting of the body of while loop and done as the ending of the body of while loop. So whatever is there between do and done will be executed. They define the starting and ending point of the body of while. So all the statements, the block of statements that are written inside will be executed. Now, the concept which you must already be familiar with of while loop is as long as this expression is true, this loop will execute. It will keep on executing as long as this expression is true. When this expression will get false, will become false, the loop will break and control will be gone to the next line after the loop. That means next line after done. Let's quickly see an example and you will understand it better. So this is an example. So what I've done is I have put a value 10 in the variable x. I have assigned the value 10 to a variable x. And here is my loop. What I'm doing is I am checking if x, this x, so $x is greater than 0. So if we talk about the traditional C or C++ expression, what I'm writing is this x is greater than 0. This is the expression. So we are checking as long as x is greater than 0, this loop should keep on running, right? So first of all, right now in the first iteration, is x greater than 0? Yes, it is, because it's 10 and 10 is greater than 0. The condition is true. So right now when the condition is true, the loop will execute and this statement, this echo statement will run, right? And here the value of $x is right now 10. Now in the next statement, I have decremented the value of x. For decrementing, we don't have the x minus minus operator or x plus plus operator, the traditional decrement or increment operators which are present in C or C++. We don't have them here. So for that, we have to manually write x equals to x minus 1. And this is just what we are doing here. EXPR is the keyword for using arithmetic expressions, and we have already covered it, right? So this line is actually equivalent to x equals to x minus, this is equal sign, x equals to x minus 1. So when this statement will execute, the value of x will then be 9. It won't be 10, it will be 9 now, right? Okay, now is 9, okay, so this statement was executed. Now the loop will start again. When it will start again, the value of x is now 9. Is 9 greater than 0? Yes, it is. It's true. The expression is true. The loop will start again. So it will run again. Now this line will run and the value of $x is definitely 9. So 9 will be printed here and it will go to the next statement. Here again, x will be subtracted, will be decremented. So 9 minus 1, that is 8. And now the value of x is 8 and the loop will start again. And then the value of x will be checked. 8 is greater than 0. So yeah, that is true. And that will keep on happening. The loop will keep on running until the value of x is 0. So the value of x will keep on decrementing when this loop is running, and there will come a time when x will be 0. When it will be 0, this expression will be checked again. So is 0 greater than 0? No. This statement 0 is greater than 0 is false. So now when this statement gets false, the loop will break and control will be transferred here in the next line. Whatever is written here will be executed. The loop is now over. So this was while loop and I just dry run it. So I think it's you've understood it clearly. Okay, now let's move towards the until loop. Now this loop is very interesting and it is actually the exact opposite of while loop, right? So the syntax is same except for just this keyword. So everything else is same. The starting point is do, the ending point is done. whatever is there between do and done will be executed is actually the block whatever is there between do and done is actually the body of until loop, right? And here we have the expression. But what is different than while loop? What is the difference between until and while? So the difference is in while loop we had the concept was the logic was that as long as this expression was true. So right now I'm talking about while loop. So in while loop, as long as this expression was true, the loop kept on running. That was the main concept, right? But in until loop, the concept is exactly opposite. So as long as this expression is false, the loop will keep on running. So it's totally the opposite, right? So as long as this expression is false, this loop will keep on running, right? Let's quickly see an example and it will be clearer to you. Okay, again, I have a variable x and I have assigned the value 10 in it. And now I'm checking if the variable is equals to 0 or not. Okay, before moving towards the rendering of loop and before understanding the loop, for a second, let's concentrate on this line here. X equals to 0. So do you think this is assignment? Because we have a single equals here, right? Is it assignment? No, it's not assignment. It's actually comparison. So in shell programming, we can compare two variables or one variable and one value. Two operands, we can compare two operands with one single equal operator. This is actually a comparison operator. We are comparing these two values. So how can you differentiate between this statement and this statement? How do you know this is not an assignment? Because we are using single equals to. So what is the difference, right? So for there are actually three differences. So focus on that. First of all, if I were assigning the value, I won't be using a dollar sign when I'm assigning the value. Right? Do you see a dollar sign here? No. Whenever we are assigning values, we never use dollar sign. We only use dollar sign when we are extracting values from a variable. So yes, the first point is dollar sign. You can recognize that this is not assignment through this dollar sign. First point. And second point is you can see spaces before and after this equal sign. So whenever we are assigning values, we never use spaces before or after the equals operator, because if you have run some scripts, you must have seen that, you must have encountered that error, that if you put spaces before and after equal sign, you get an error. So this is not possible when you are assigning. So this is the second difference. Second difference is of spaces. You can recognize it from this. Third thing is the position. Where is this statement written? This place is exclusive for expressions. It is written here inside the square brackets of until loop. So this place is just for comparisons and just for expressions, not for assigning. So third thing is the position where this statement is written. That is the third thing. So these are the three things with which you can recognize that this statement is of comparison, not of assignment. Okay, so I have taken a variable x and I have assigned the value 10 in it. Now I'm checking if my x is equal to 0 or not. So right now x is equals to 10 and 10 is not equals to 0. So this condition is false. This is what we are checking. We are checking if 10 is equals to 0 or not. This is what we are checking. So is this true? No, this is false. So when this condition is false, this loop will run. This is what we just learned, that until loop keeps on executing as long as the condition is false. So this condition is false right now. When it will be false, this loop will run. So the control will enter inside the loop. This line will be run. Right now the value of $x is 10. 10 will be executed. This 10 will be executed. 10 will be will be printed here on the screen, and then it will go to the next statement. And here what I am doing is I am decrementing it, x equals to x minus 1. So the value will become 9 now. Now the value of 10 is 9, and the loop will start again. The value 9 will be checked here. Is 9 equals to 0? The condition is again false. it will come down, and again after this line the value will become 8. Now the value is 8, and the loop will run again, and so on. It will continue, and until there will come a time when this x will become 0. So there will come a time when this x will become 0. Now when the value of x will be 0, and this condition again will be checked, 0 is equals to 0 or not. This will be checked. Is it equals to 0? Yes, the condition is now true. So now that the condition became true, this loop will break. It won't run again. So it will break, and the control will come here on this line, the next line after that. So this loop will be over when the condition becomes true. So it's the opposite of while. Now let's move towards the for loop. Okay, so in the for loop, this is not the traditional for loop of C++. So in C++, you are familiar with the loop, with this loop, for, and then you write your starting point, and then less than something, and then increment. This is the traditional C++ loop. So here in shell scripting, we are not doing that. This is not. This for loop is similar. Okay, if you have learned or if you're familiar with C#, this for loop is actually similar to the for each loop of C#. If you are familiar with C#, it is similar to the for each loop of C#. If you are familiar with Python, this for loop is similar to the for loop of Python. Okay, even if you're not familiar with any of those languages, let's learn about this loop as if you don't know anything, as if you're an absolute beginner. So what we do in the for loop of shell programming, we have an array, a list. So we pick each element of that array, and we run this loop once for that element. So what we do is we actually run the loop on each and every element of that array one by one, right? So each and every element of that array is run once in the for loop. This is what we mean, and let's see it in more detail. So this is you can say this is my array. It has 3 words, word 1, 2, and 3. These are the 3 words. What I will do is I will pick the first word. So when this loop will run, this first word 1, this will go in this variable, this variable here. And then this loop will run on the value, based on the value of this variable, which is actually word 1. And then this loop will start again, and it will continue to the next iteration. So when this loop will continue again in the next iteration, second word will be picked, word 2, and that will go and it will be stored inside this variable. Now the loop will run based on the value of this variable, which is actually word 2, and so on. It will run for each and every element of this array, as many elements are there, right? Okay, let's see an example for this and you will understand it better. And there is one more thing. This array which you are looking at right now here, it is actually called space separated string. This is actually a string. So what I mean is this. Let's say I have a string. Hello. Hi. I have a string which have different greeting words. For example, hi, hello, and good day. It has these 3 words. So this is actually called, it has 3 words, right? 3 words. So it is actually called space separated string. So you can see that these words are separated by just spaces. So we call it space separated string. This is just the terminology. Okay, let's quickly see the example for this for loop so that everything is clear to you. This is very simple, and this is the easiest loop of all. So this is an example. This is actually a shell script which I wrote, and I have put a snap here for you. So this is my array, and I have 5 values in it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 values which are separated by spaces. This is actually a space separated string. Now what will happen is the first value, which is 1, will go in the variable a, and the loop will run, and the value, this will be printed. The value of a is $a. So right now the value of $a is 1. That will be printed on screen, and then this loop will start again, and when it will run in the next iteration, the value 2 will be stored in a. the value 2 will be stored in A. Now A is equals to 2 and it will be printed on screen, and $A is 2. And then in the next iteration 3 will be stored in A, right? This 3 will be stored in A and this will be printed on screen, and $A is now 3. And so on, next 4 and then 5. So every element of this array will be run once in this loop. So actually, if someone asks you the question that this is a for loop or shell scripting, and it is running an array which has, let's say, 15 elements. So how many times this loop will run? So the answer to that will be this loop will run 15 times. So actually the for loop runs as many times as there are elements in that array which it is iterating, right? So I think it's clear now. One more thing, if I, instead of writing this 1 2 3 4 5, I can also for example, I can create an array, let's say A, and I can, let's say I have stored some values in it. So let's say 10, 9, 8, 7. These are the 4 values that I have stored in my array, and the name of my array is A. This array is actually a space separated string. So this is A. So here, instead of writing this line, I can directly write $A, and that will work too. Now, how many times will this loop run? Will it run 5 times? How many times? So these are the elements in this array A. So whatever the answer is, let me know about it. Write down the answer of this, that how many times this loop will run. Write the answer of this down in the comment section and let me know about it. So this was all about loops in shell scripting. Let's quickly see break and continue statements in shell script.